Well, we've been doing some eagle owl birding. Our rhino disappeared, and so we ended up then deciding we just go off to the owls and go and see what we can find with them. And so we have one of the adults. It's difficult to know whether it's mom or dad. I suspect it's mom. Mom normally sits much closer to the chicks than does. She's pretty feisty when it comes to anybody disturbing the nest, so she often sits just above them. So she's sitting beautifully in a tambuti tree with the most amazing camouflage. They've got such great coloration for the types of trees that they typically sit in where they nest. These tambutis and jackalberries and the likes that have this very, very, very sort of mottled bark makes for the most perfect place for an owl to end up nesting, and you can see it's pretty tricky to spot her from that. Now if we come down a little bit to the right, we'll be able to pick up the chicks. Both of them are just trying to get some semblance of shade at the moment. It's obviously gets quite warm when you've got a big down fluffy feathery body, and because of where they are, the wind here is very, very, very little. It doesn't get hugely breezy in this particular area, and so they don't have the ability to kind of have that cooling them down, so they try to get into as much shade as possible where they can sit and rest. But you can see already since I was last here, the wing feathers are developing even more, starting to lose the down on the wings, and the proper feathers are starting to come through. So that means that they are growing very, very quickly at this stage of the game. It's amazing. Always with birds, I'm fascinated to see how fast they develop, and I suppose they have to. You know, they can't be bound to the nest for long periods of time, and the growing can't be that slow because they've got to start getting out and feeding themselves. The parents are not going to take care of them for that long, and they need to sort of start establishing their own little areas that they're going to move around in. And it's crazy, these owls, once they are fully developed and are going to distribute, they can travel hundreds of kilometers to go and find a territory. So it's not like they just sort of hang around in this area. I mean, they can, but most of the time they just fly off. It depends on how many other birds are in the area, and eventually we'll find a territory that could be a kilometer away, or it could be hundreds of kilometers away, which is cool. You know, the problem is that we're just never going to know if they do stay here, if it's them. Once they get those adult feathers without any sort of distinctive marking on them or distinctive pattern or something that we can pick up easily, it's incredibly difficult who is who in the owl world. Unfortunately, unlike our leopard lions that have pretty unique markings and facial features, owls are a little bit trickier to ID in that regard. And we obviously know the wigs because they just come and nest in the same place every year, but if we were to take the wigs and put them somewhere else, I doubt any one of us would recognize that it's actually them, bar the fact that they're probably so relaxed that they don't actually fly away. A real other sort of ID marking that we can use. And so for these chicks, as much as it's cool to watch them grow up, the likelihood of us knowing that it's them as adults in this area down the line is probably very, very slim. The one good thing, though, with this particular set of chicks is that she's done quite well, or they've done quite well so far. Last year, I don't think it went as well as this. I think they were taken before they even got to this age. Last year or the year before, I can't remember. Anyway, we'll probably leave them be, let them carry on hanging out and doing their thing. It was just a quick checkup, and we'll pop in again at a later stage.